What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel, and welcome to me, Speed Sultan's official top 10 favorite comic books of all time list. Yeah, that's right. As you guys know, I like to do some comic book recommendations here on the channel. I like to break down my top 10 favorite ongoings, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of you guys have asked me for my own top 10 personal favorite comic books of all time. So I did it. I sat down and I made my list. It was extremely hard. And honestly, it's taken me days, if not weeks, to really think about it. And really, I've been moving them around and everything like that. But I have 10. I have officially picked my 10 favorite comic books of all time. Chances are I will probably make another video like this in the future in like a year or so now, because I'll probably read even more comic books and that list might change. But as of now, the list is certain and it is what it is. If I have any changes with it, I'm just going to have to live with it, because this is my list. My top 10 favorite comic books of all time. Like I said, it's so hard to make this. There's so many amazing comic books from of all time. I'm gonna cut to the chase and get straight into it with my number 10 favorite book, my 10th favorite book, comic book of all time. And that goes to Murder Falcon by Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. Spoiler warning, Daniel Warren Johnson is on this list more than once. For those of you guys that don't know, it would be surprising if you didn't know, but that would probably mean this is your first time watching my YouTube channel, which if that is the case, thank you very much for checking me out. But regardless, I am a huge Daniel Warren Johnson fan. He's my favorite writer of all time and my favorite artist of all time. So that being said, he is my favorite comic book creator of all time. And Murder Falcon is a great representation of what he does, the type of work he does and everything like that. It's a beautiful book. The overall premise of the book story, at least loosely, is kind of like this group, this band that harnesses the power of metal, like music, heavy metal, in order to fight against monsters and the evil of the world and everything like that. But Daniel Warren Johnson uses that crazy heavy metal epic like setting and scenes to hide just these super deep character moments. This book in particular, I feel like, is really touches on themes like acceptance and family dynamics and all that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful story. I cannot recommend it enough. Aside from all the beautiful stuff and the beautiful messages and stuff like that inside the story, obviously, if you're looking for just some insane action sequences, badass heavy metal fight scenes and everything like that, Daniel Warren Johnson is your guy. Murder Falcon is about as heavy metal as it gets. I mean, the title alone, Murder Falcon. It's pretty freaking sick, if I say so myself. So kicking off that top 10 list is Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer's Murder Falcon. And for those that want to know, if you are wanting to read this, it is only 8 issues. 1 through 8, it says on the back. 8 issues, completed story. Check it out. And then coming in at number 9, first DC book on the list, we have DCeased by Tom Taylor and Trevor Hairsine. Yes, Trevor Hairsine. This is easily my favorite DC Elseworld story of all time. Probably just my favorite Elseworld story, period. DC, Marvel, doesn't really matter. I adore this story. Before I ever read it, I thought, it's not going to be for me. Zombies, DC, there's no way that's not like super basic and super boring. I was 100,000% incorrect. There's nothing basic and boring about this whatsoever. The entire series, it starts with DCeased, and then there's a couple of other volumes that follow it. DCeased, War of the Undead Gods. There's The Unkillables. I'm blanking off of the other titles of the other volumes, but I'll have them all up on screen right now so you guys can check out the entire series, because from start to finish, it is seriously so beautiful. Being able to see not only our heroes turn into zombies and everything like that, and the problems that causes, obviously, but we also just get to see a huge time jump into the future and get to see some of our younger legacy characters grow up and see how that happens, everything like that. I'm trying to speak about these books without spoiling much, but regardless, DCeased is amazing. It's a great saga. It's I cannot stress it enough, man. It's easily my favorite Elseworld story. Great horror elements, awesome deep character moments and dynamics and everything like that. If you're looking for horror books but you want to keep it within the Marvel and DC realm, I cannot recommend this enough. I do think it's like the Marvel and DC horror book, in my opinion. I have not read Marvel Zombies. I'm going to say that right now. I haven't read it. So maybe it'll kind of play with how, or that statement I just made about this being the best DC or Marvel horror book. But I don't know if it'll top this. I haven't heard many people that say it tops it, but I'm open to it because I would love, if Marvel Zombies was better than this, that means it's an amazing book and I'm going to absolutely love reading it. So I hope that is the case. But coming in at number 9 is DCeased by Tom Taylor. Now coming in at number 8, first Marvel book on the list, we have my favorite Spider-Man book of all time, Spider-Man Blue by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. For starters, I personally think at least, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale are the greatest comic book duo of all time. I think Jeff Loeb has maybe written some books that weren't my personal favorites, but the millisecond he's paired with Tim Sale, it's flawless, and it's just absolute perfection, in my opinion. And this is probably my favorite book from their entire catalog that they've done together. But like I said, it's definitely my favorite Spider-Man story of all time. It is a love letter to Gwen Stacy and his relationship with her. It's also kind of a love letter to Tim Sale. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. Definitely going to get the tears going and everything like that. If you guys love Gwen Stacy as the love interest, or if you like Gwen Stacy as a love interest for Peter and for Spider-Man, I could not recommend this enough. I mean, I feel like it is the Gwen Stacy story. Other than her dying and everything like that, and outside of her being Spider-Gwen and these other versions and everything like that. It's just, as far as 616, Gwen Stacy, and her relationship with Peter Parker, I do not think there's a book that really, like, tells the importance of that relationship and the character to Peter and his story than Spider-Man Blue. It's flawless, in my opinion. It's definitely going to get the tears going, like I said, and it's just beautiful artwork. Every single panel of this is just gorgeous. I love, love, love Tim Sale. So many of the books that Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb have done together are my all-time favorites. I wish I could have put more of them on this list. Just to throw some other ones out there, Batman The Long Halloween is amazing. For All Seasons, Superman For All Seasons is just so unbelievably beautiful. The entire color series, Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, Captain America White, they're all so, so good. If you ever see a book with Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's name on it next to each other, just get it. It's going to be phenomenal. And Spider-Man Blue is my favorite of all of them. Like I said, I cannot stress it enough. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. And it comes in at my number 8 spot of my all-time favorites. Now, coming in at number 7, we're going back to the world of indie books, and we have Junkyard Joe by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, colored by Brad Anderson. This is a part of the Ghost Machine unnamed universe, so it ties in with books like Geiger and Redcoat and stuff like that, which I also highly, highly, highly recommend those, especially Geiger. But Junkyard Joe, easily my favorite book out of the universe, at least the unnamed universe, because Rook Exodus, side note, is also a phenomenal book and one of my favorite Ghost Machines. It's between that and this, but that's an ongoing. It has not reached a top 10 favorite of all time for me, like Junkyard Joe has. It's only a 6-issue series. Yes, only 6 issues. It's so beautiful. It's a story about this robot who is created to help the government and the U.S. Army in wars and everything like that. Basically, he's sent out on a mission with this group and everything like that. I won't say what happens and all that kind of stuff, but it's beautiful. You can kind of already see maybe where it's going and everything like that. He was a robot made strictly for war, and obviously that doesn't happen and everything like that. So Junkyard Joe, it is a beautiful, beautiful story. Jeff Johns, I highly recommend, like I said, checking out every title underneath Ghost Machine. There's the ones that were within this unnamed universe, like I said, with Geiger and Redcoat, but Rook Exodus is amazing. Rockefellers is amazing. Hornsby and Halo is a lot of fun. Just all the Ghost Machine titles are phenomenal. But Junkyard Joe is the shining star amongst all of them, in my opinion. It is just so unbelievably beautiful. And I know I definitely cannot speak to this, but from what I've heard and what I could maybe try to assume, is that this is a beautiful representation of PTSD. And it's just, I can't emphasize it enough. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. I love it so, so much. Easily one of my favorite books of all time. Obviously, it's in this top 10 list, but it's easily one of my, I'm just going to say it's easily one of my favorites about all these books. I can't stress it enough. It is beautiful. Jeff Johns, Gary Frank knocked it out of the park with this one. Easily my number 7 favorite book of all time. And now coming in at number 6, we're going back to Marvel. For my favorite Marvel book of all time, we have The Incredible Hulk, Planet Hulk, The Incredible Hulk by Greg Pak. This is just absolutely beautiful. It's my favorite, like I said, my favorite Marvel comic book of all time. It follows Hulk after he is sent to Sakaar by the Illuminati, after the Illuminati have deemed him too dangerous for the planet, basically, long story short at least, and they send him off there. Basically, if you guys have seen Thor Ragnarok, this is what Thor Ragnarok was supposed to be, in my opinion. I do have a couple of personal gripes against Thor Ragnarok. I still think it is an extremely great movie, very enjoyable, very rewatchable, a lot of great humor. That being said, I am very upset that they wasted this story because, like I said, it's my favorite Marvel book of all time. And it is just, you see Hulk at his all-time best, at his highest, at his most monstered out and everything like that, but you also see him at his lowest. They tear him down, they break him down as a character and everything like that. It's so badass, it's so epic, amazing fight scenes, but it is a heartbreaking Hulk story. I've never felt so sad for the Hulk in my life, and I feel sad for the Hulk a lot because he's obviously a tragic character. But Planet Hulk, man, it is so amazing. It's so grand and epic at the same time. And if you do read this and you do enjoy it, make sure you 100% check out World War Hulk, also by Greg Pak. It's the direct sequel to this. Like I said, this is when the Illuminati send Hulk out to Sakaar. World War Hulk is him coming back. I won't say anything that happens in between because you most definitely need to read that. And I do not want to spoil it because, like I said, one of my all-time favorites. There's some awesome twists. If you have watched Ragnarok, don't worry, that doesn't really spoil anything. Because, like I said, Ragnarok is a Thor movie and a Thor story that was taking place in like a Hulk story. Because Sakaar and Planet Hulk and all that kind of stuff is Planet Hulk, not Thor Ragnarok. But regardless of Thor Ragnarok, like I said, I still like that movie, but it just doesn't compare to Planet Hulk. And I feel like if you guys read this, you will then understand where I'm coming from on how it's just better. Thor Ragnarok, great. Planet Hulk, phenomenal, and just that much better. So yeah, I highly recommend it. If you guys have ever heard of Gladiator Hulk and seen artwork and panels and stuff like that, that comes straight from here. So definitely check this out. It is my 6th favorite comic book of all time and my favorite Marvel comic of all time. So I cannot recommend it enough. And now it is officially time for the top 5. My top 5 favorite comic books of all time. Man, this list was way too hard to make, but coming in at number 5, we have All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. My favorite Superman book. It was hard, like I said earlier. Superman for All Seasons is definitely one of my all-time favorites too, and I really wanted to have that on this list as well. Up in the Sky is my 3rd favorite Superman book probably, but there can only be one, and that favorite Superman book is All-Star Superman. I know it can be basic. A lot of people recommend it. A lot of people talk about it, especially with the influence that James Gunn and David Cornsweet's Superman took off of this book, at least tonally and everything like that. A lot of people know of this story now, but that doesn't change anything for me. I still think it is beautiful. I think it's the perfect love letter to the character and what he represents and what he means and what he stands for. For those of you guys that don't know what the story is about, without spoiling anything, basically Superman is poisoned by the sun and he's got way too much sun radiation pretty much, and it's going to kill him. And basically it is just a story about following Superman throughout his last year of life as he knows he is going to die in a year and what he would do and everything like that. And like I said, I think it is just so beautiful. It's exactly what Superman is to me. There are so many moments and quotes and things that happen in this story that I live by, that I quote. You guys know on the channel, on my new Comic Book Day vlogs, I like to do the comic quote of the days and just give you guys some quotes from comics that have really stuck with me throughout my life. And I'm pretty sure I've used this book for it already like 3 or 4 times. And the only other book I don't think I've actually ever used multiple quotes from the same book in the quote of the days so far. Maybe, but regardless, this I've used 4 or 5 times because it's that good. There's so many other quotes and moments in it that I could use. It's just a beautiful story, beautiful dedication to the character of Superman, what he means and who he is. And yeah, if you haven't read this, like I said, it is super popular and a lot of people have talked about it, but if you still haven't gotten around to it, I highly recommend checking it out for yourself. And if you don't like it, For All Seasons or Up in the Sky, I think those ones might be for you. But regardless, easily one of my favorite comics of all time. I wanted to put it a little bit higher, but it is coming in at number 5. It's in the top 5 all time. I think that's pretty good. Now coming in at number 4, I said at the very beginning after giving my number 10, that spoiler warning, there's more Daniel Warren Johnson coming, and here it is. Kicking it off at number 4, or not kicking it off, I don't know why I said that, but at number 4, I have Transformers by Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer and Jorge Corona, especially now that the entire 24 issues of Daniel Warren Johnson's run is complete. I had to throw it in here. Obviously, Daniel Warren Johnson is my favorite, like I said, but this is the book that got me into his work. I had never read Daniel Warren Johnson. I had never heard of him before, and I also didn't care about Transformers before I read this. And now it is my 4th favorite comic book of all time. So if that alone doesn't tell you to read this, I don't know what does. But regardless, just like Murder Falcon and just like any other Daniel Warren Johnson book I'll tell you about, it is just so epic and badass and just huge and grand, but he uses that to hide these amazing character moments and just stories filled with heart. And Transformers, I think, is the perfect example. Like I said, it was my introduction to Daniel Warren Johnson, and now here I am. He's my all-time favorite and everything, so of course this book is on this list. And I think it started and finished absolutely flawlessly. I mean, it tied it together so well from the first arc to the last arc. And like I said, it's just beautiful. It's a story about robots fighting, but it is so human. And I feel like that is just Daniel Warren Johnson's specialty, and I think he's firing on all cylinders here. His artwork is amazing. Mike Spicer's coloring is phenomenal, of course. But Jorge Corona takes over the art after the first arc, and it's a seamless transition. He does phenomenal work. I love Jorge Corona just as much as almost his artwork is just amazing in Transformers. And now, for those of you guys that don't know, since Daniel Warren Johnson is no longer on Transformers, Dan Mora and Robert Kirkman have taken over. I'm really enjoying what they did so far in the first issue, but this first 24 issues, man. I mean, I've said it prior and I'll say it again. I genuinely think now that this is over, it might be the best comic book of the 2020s, in my opinion, in my most humble opinion. And I do know there is going to be a book that comes directly after this that also came out in the 2020s, but it's not nearly as long as this. This is 24 issues, so I think with that, the length and consistency get also next to it, paired with that it's just like a flawless story and everything like that. In my opinion, it is my number one book of the 2020s. Not necessarily, yeah, maybe not favorite, but I think it is the best book of 2020s. My fourth favorite comic of all time. Now coming in at number 3, the top 3, my 3 favorite books of all time. Wow, this is crazy. But coming in, kicking off that top 3, we have Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer's Do a Powerbomb. I lent my trade paperback to a homie, so that's why I'm kind of flexing on you guys with my signed number 1. Sorry about that, but regardless, it is my 3rd favorite book of all time. Easily could have been my number 1. All these top 3s could be my number 1. But for every same reason I'd said for Transformers and Murder Falcon, same thing applies here. It is a extremely badass setting and just awesome, crazy epicness going on. But he uses it to hide these awesome, deep character moments, heart-filled story and everything like that. It basically is, without spoiling anything, the premise of this story is it's basically this wizard he's obsessed with wrestling, like pro wrestling, and he finds like the greatest tag team wrestling duo from every planet in like the multiverse, and he hosts this massive multiversal tag team wrestling match. So yes, just out of this world, epic, huge, crazy world building and everything like that, crazy ideas and settings. But realistically, it's just a story about grief, and a story also like he uses those amazingly crazy, epic things, like I said, to just hide the most heart-filled stories and deep character moments. This is definitely a heartbreaker. If, like I said earlier, with Murder Falcon and Spider-Man Blue, you're definitely gonna shed some tears reading this one. I can't emphasize it enough. This one and the book following in my list are just so unbelievably beautiful. I feel as if you read this book, you will truly understand why I love Daniel Warren Johnson so much, and what he does in comic books is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I feel as if all these times I'm talking about Daniel Warren Johnson books, I'm just kind of lost for words here, and I'm just saying the same things over and over again but it's just true. Daniel Warren Johnson, Mike Spicer, knock it out of the park every single time. Do a Powerbomb is a perfect example. It's like I said, spoiler warning, this next book is also a Daniel Warren Johnson book. I'm spoiling it early because I'm just about to get into it. But even that being said, I might have this next one as a personal favorite, a little bit higher, barely, than Do a Powerbomb, but I do think Do a Powerbomb is his best work. There's a difference between favorite and best, you know what I mean? And so I think this is his best work of all time. And so definitely check it out. It's my 3rd favorite comic of all time. And like I said, I spoiled number 2. It's also a Daniel Warren Johnson book. If you know me personally, or if you've watched my videos, you know exactly what book is coming. It is Extremity by Daniel Warren Johnson. And could you guess, the legendary Mike Spicer. I don't know what to say about this that I didn't just say about Do a Powerbomb and Transformers. Everything that I said about those applies to this. Epic, crazy, awesome, high character moments and on heart stories and everything like that. Exact same thing. But it's basically a post-apocalyptic world where there's rival clans, and one of the clans is just basically takes everything from another one. And it's basically a story about revenge and whether it's right or whether it's wrong and how to go about that and everything like that. It's so unbelievably beautiful, just like all the other Daniel Warren Johnson books. Amazing family dynamics in here. And just, I can't believe how much emotion Daniel Warren Johnson can portray in his stories and in his books. It's not only through his writing and his storytelling, but his artwork just shows so much emotion, and paired with the legendary Mike Spicer, like I said, whose colors are just phenomenal. Gotta be my favorite colorist of all time. But yeah, Extremity, it's 2 volumes, and it's just beautiful. 12 issues. I have never ever cried in my entire life like I cried when I finished this story. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. Like, obviously I've cried, but never in my life for anything have I cried like I cried when I read this, man. I mean, the ending, it just hits so unbelievably close to home I don't know. It's just a beautiful story. I can't recommend it enough. Every single Daniel Warren Johnson book has these similar vibes of, like I said, craziness. Uses that to hide just amazing stories filled with heart. awesome character dynamics, huge family dynamics, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm so repetitive when it comes to talking about Daniel Warren Johnson. I'm sorry, but I hope you guys just understand his books are that good. And if you haven't read them, you gotta check them out. And if you're watching me consistently and you haven't read Daniel Warren Johnson yet, come on, what are you doing? But yes, Extremity coming in at number 2. And now there can only be one. Like I've said, if you guys know me, I've said this in the past, you guys should know what this number 1 book is. But if you don't, you're about to find out. And I credit this book as being my number 1 because it is the book that got me into comics. I will say, and I will admit, I do think top 3, maybe a good amount of this top 10 list, I might personally like a little bit more than this book, but it still holds with all of these as far as storytelling, art, writing, all that stuff, how much I personally enjoy the story. It still holds up with all the rest of my list. But the reason it will be my number 1 forever is because I would have never read any of those other books in my list if I had never read Flashpoint by Jeff Johns and Andy Kubert. This is the one that started it all for me. It's the first comic book I ever read. It's the first comic book I ever bought. It's the first comic book I ever got signed. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but my signed Flashpoint number 1 is right behind me. Like I said, so just huge book for me. A lot of firsts. And then, like I said, it still does hold up story-wise and art-wise and everything like that as a comic book with the rest of my list, in my opinion. But regardless of how I feel about it, it will always be my number 1 because, yes, I would have never read Daniel Warren Johnson. I would have never read All-Star Superman. I would have never read so many of these books that changed my life without reading this one. Obviously, you guys have probably heard of it, but if you haven't, Barry Allen, The Flash, his mother was killed by the Reverse Flash as a child. And now as an adult, Barry Allen decides that now that he has the power to do so, he is going to go back in time and change that from ever happening. And then we get to see the repercussions of that. Obviously, it doesn't go well. He opens up a brand new timeline. Everything is different. Well, not everything. Some things are similar, but the more and more you read the story, the more and more the story unfolds, the more and more Barry walks around this world and learns things. He sees how things are different and how things are changed, and ultimately needs to decide on whether he wants to live in this new world where he saved his mom, or if he needs to go back and right his wrongs and accept what has happened and what has been done. But like I said, would never have read any other comic books I have read recently if I had never read this. This one started it all for me, so it'll always be my number 1 favorite comic book of all time. All right, y'all, so there you have it. That's my top 10 favorite comic books of all time. And like I said in the very beginning of this video, chances are that there will be an updated list in like a year or so, because there's no way that this list doesn't change, given that how much it's changed in recent years. I didn't even read Daniel Warren Johnson until like the past year or two, so obviously my all-time list has definitely changed in recent years, but I did it. This is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys like the list. If there's any of these books that you guys haven't read, I could not recommend them enough. So definitely check those out. And also let me know your guys' top 10s, top 5s, top 3, your favorite comic book of all time. I would love to know, because if I haven't read it, I gotta read it, because if it's your favorite, I'm probably gonna check it out and it's probably gonna be fantastic. But yes, like I said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for checking out the YouTube channel. And as I always say, thank you for all the love and support you guys show me. I seriously cannot thank you guys enough. I mean, we just hit like 16,500 subscribers here on the channel. We're on the road to 20K. Unbelievable. Thank you guys so freaking much. But yeah, I'm gonna get on out of here. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Whatever day of the week you guys are watching this on, I hope it's the best day ever. Keep on being you. Keep chasing your dreams. Read some comics. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.